Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the one and only SiloMan coming to you from a launch control center in a former Atlas F intercontinental ballistic missile site outside of Roswell, New Mexico, USA. What you're about to see here are some of the early photographs that I put together, so we're really going back nearly 20 years. We put a little music to it, plus I'm going to be able to give you an audio of exactly what you may be looking at. Here's one in an Atlas F missile at Site 7 in the Roswell area. This is an artist's conception, and then that was my father when we were working on the first blast door at the site that you're seeing all these pictures. This is the entryway leading down, the stairwell down to the concrete. You can see all the graffiti. That was the original way in which when the site was purchased. This is the way the steps looked. And of course, this is where you're making your first turn to go towards the entrapment area. And this is after we did some wall prep on that, and then we shot it with some oil-based kills. You can see the surface up there. Here you're going down, making the turn. When you make a left here, you're going into what is called the entrapment area. Again, looking down the entryway after we've shot the color code. And it's giving you a little different view. We haven't done the floor yet. And there, we put a coat on the floor. You'll notice some of the emergency backup lights we've got in play, especially up at the top. Got the handrail in, fire extinguishers. Even though the structure is concrete, still nice to have fire extinguishers. There's the paint. Here's the back side of the new door that I built for it. And you can see down at the very bottom of what we call the entryway stairs. That's at the very, very top of the entryway at the surface level. As you come down to the bottom, you'll make a right-hand turn there to go just as you're seeing right here. So it looks a lot different than the early pictures you've just seen. Another angle. I put some of the original photographs on the wall just so you can take a look at them, and they're kind of nice because they're just of the Roswell, or what we call the 579th Strategic Missile Squadron. So it was just all of the local ones. And we have 12 sites surrounding Roswell. Again, another shot looking up the entryway stairs. Putting in the fire alarm system. And then, of course, we tied in the security system with the fire alarm system, so it makes it kind of nice. That's originally what the beginning of the entrapment area looked like when we first started working on the site. You can see there. The two doors are missing, and what would happen, the 5-man launch crew would walk in there. One door had an automatic buzzer. You'd press the buzzer, the door would open up, you'd walk in. You'll notice this little hole. They had a video camera there, and they would be looking at the crew, and the crew would pick up the phone. There was a phone mounted on the wall, and they would give the correct password. If they got the correct password, that last door would open up automatically. They would walk out and make a right-hand turn, and there was the first of 2 blast doors, which were made of manganese steel. And the rationale was it was better to handle the heat created from a nuclear weapon. Now, of course, these sites, contrary to what you may be hearing online, were never designed to take a direct nuclear hit. That is a fallacy. At best is to be nearby. So word had it that the Atlas F sites were designed to take a 1 megaton nuclear strike within 1 mile of its location and still launch its Atlas F missile, which I believe would have been pretty difficult. In this photograph, you're seeing the first of 2 blast doors, and there you're into the blast lock. You see on the right of that photograph the second blast door. Here's another picture of it. These were so well balanced, you basically could take one finger of one hand and simply open that door up. It was that well balanced. It was also on an interlocking system. And what I mean by that is that when both doors were completely shut, you could only open one at a time. Therefore, you kept the integrity of the site, given if there was an explosion. This is my son. You can see we were working on the floor. We've got some of the walls painted. We haven't come back and finished. You can see where we painted the interlocks, the doors. Looks a little different than the early photographs. You'll notice in the upper right hand corner, you'll see where we ran some of the electricals through those flexible electric lines. We got these doors working, so with those handles we could raise the portion of that door to lock it down. You're looking from the last blast door into the stairwell, which then looks on into the upper level of the control center. And there's looking back towards the first blast door from the blast lock itself. That was looking from the first blast door towards the entrapment area. In this photograph, you can see what I'm talking about with the electrical coming through. Here's the interlocking system. Again, looking from the blast lock towards the entrapment area. Here we're viewing it just the opposite. And you can see, looking from the first blast door into the blast lock itself, seeing the second blast door. And there's looking back from the first blast door towards the entrapment area on your right. And this is going from the first. We're just simply putting in some of the interlocks at the top. This is the first blast door. It's an interesting color. It didn't come out too well, but it's Rust-Oleum hammered gold. I just love it, but they quit making it. Here's what the original stairwell looked like when we first started. You can see basically the original color scheme. Of course, it didn't have the graffiti. This is the sewer ejection line to the surface, to the septic tank on the left. There was a blast valve attached to this that provided air to the rest of the entryway. And there you can see where the handrails have been removed, but at least you can look up and see it. This is at the very bottom of the stairwell. Where you're standing right now would be on the sewer sump. These are the discharge lines for the sewer sump itself, plus the vent line that you see on the far right. A lot of those pipes I went ahead and removed through the years because they simply handled water and return water coming from the silo and the water chillers that were located in the silo. There's looking down from the top. You can see no handrail, but at least the stairs. Here's a sub-fed electrical panel that we put in at the very, very bottom of the stairwell itself, and we're going through now and painting the treads and the risers, so you can get an interesting shot above when you see it. That would be the upper level floor in the stairwell. That right there is the 4-inch line that works with the sewer vent, and you can see where the angles as it comes over, goes through the wall. That there would be the discharge for sewage to the septic tank. You can see where some of the electrical lines went through the wall. That would be the second blast door to the blast lock area. What some of the stairs, treads, and risers look like. And of course, that's where the blast lock would have been at the top of the stairwell. the blast valve. That's after some of the painting that we did. Still going back through and painting some of the conduit of the electrical. This was a lot of fun. A lot of work, but a lot of fun. And there you're looking down as you're going down to the lower level of the control center in the stairwell. You can still see some of the original electrical conduits that were left. In fact, we used a lot of those and we just simply ran a new wire through them. That's looking from the stairwell into the lower level of the control center. And that's looking at the top of the bottom of the stairwell. But that area would be right there. You're seeing starting to go in through what's called the fire and debris door to the utilities tunnel, which leads to the silo. And again, the top of that area, the fire and debris door. And that was some of the plumbing that was used, hot and cold water being returned, fed and returned. Looking over, and you can see one is vent and for the sewage, and one is the true sewer line being pumped up. You were looking at, from the bottom of the sewer sump in the stairwell, you were looking at about 50 feet to the surface at that point. So you can imagine what kind of head pressure you had on those pumps. These were some of the original cableways that led through the fire and debris door. And again, some of the plumbing coming from that area. And here you're starting to make the turn. You can see the fire and debris door. It's 10 tons. You're looking in the back of it. And that's after we've started the painting. And we were having fun going ahead and trimming out the vents and the sewer lines and the electrical. We've even got the backup lights in. See, we're putting the first coat of the red, or the porch red, on the bottom of the steps. It's a heavy-duty oil-based polyurethane. It's great for porches. There you can see some of the emergency lights. We come off of the regular lighting. Some of the signage we put up. I went ahead and put doorways on the upper and lower level of the control center just so we could block off while we were working. Decided to go ahead and leave them. What became first temporary has now become, we've just kept it. Some of the signage that we put in. And some of the handrail that I've acquired. We've gone through and cleaned it up and painted it and put it back in. You can see, looking from the bottom up towards the top of the stairwell. And that's the lower level door to the stairwell, or to the lower level of the control center. Here's looking from the top straight across. And another shot looking the other direction. That's a great beam. We could put a trolley on it and a winch. Lower things up and down. It's what it was originally designed. You would take the Air Force could take the handrails off and literally pull 2 bolts, and the stairs would raise up, and which gave them more room, and they could take equipment up and down the center of the stairwell. Very interesting design. You can see some of the finished product. We're putting in the final signs. Very big on safety, so you'll see lots of safety signs. And here's that sub-fed panel I showed you earlier at the bottom of the stairwell. That's the lower level door to the LCC. And this is the end of part 1. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't hesitate to subscribe. Click that bell, and you'll be getting. I'm going to try to do at least a few videos a week, if not more. We'll see how that works out. Thank you again. Have a great day.